Hi and welcome to another iBox video by 3D printer by Deagostini. Pack 9 this time. There's a lot to do in this one. Loads of components. They're going to be putting some boards on the printer. So I'm going to have to do a bit of cutting and messing about with videos. So it'll be a little one, long one this one. So what you start with, you get the assembly you just finished off last time with the wire on it. And you have it so the front is facing you, like so. And then pull the y-axis pole out, about more than under halfway. Like so. So it is. The cooling fan on the head motor, on the heater head, facing you and the nozzle pointing down, but the pole you just pulled halfway through the pole, and then the pole back through the sliders all the way through. Just pointing out both sides like so. And they do the same the other one, so you push that out the back of the housing. And then again, just put it through the head, the header. And there you go. That's the bring the head actually fixed in place. So that'll move back and forth, and then that'll move side to side. Just make sure it moves pretty freely, but really freely. So it won't be too bad. And then once you've done that, left. Make sure the poles are not pointing in and out both sides. So level both sides, which they will be once I've put this back through. Like so. And then all you do is you do the set screws up on these sliders. So you can see the big set screws on both, all four. And that'll be stage 36 done. And stage 37. I'll be back with you in the middle of that, it's easier. That's that all secured on there. So what you do, you get this. This is one of the main circuit boards. That's where the USB will plug into the thing, and there's power, obviously some sort of power plug there. And you get loads of these little spacers. There's 2mm thick and 3mm thick. And as you can see, there's one there which is the 2mm thick has only got one side cut off, and the 3mm thick ones, it's hard to show this properly, but it has like an L-shaped cut out on it instead of one side. So what you do is you get 2mm, put a 2mm spacer over the holes on the base of the printer. There are 4 holes on this. It's easier said than done to show you where it is first. There are 4mm holes, 4 holes in the bottom of this printer base, here, here and here. And we're supposed to get the 2mm ones, which are one-sided holes, spacers, and you put them on. It's a lot easier said than done. So you have one, as I always easy to show you, not easy to show you, so you put spacers lining up the holes. Make sure you only use the 4mm, the 2mm holes, not the 4mm ones, 2mm ones. And make sure you put the spacers on the way it says in the magazine as well. Which I can't really show you that, to be honest. And then you get a 16mm space screws. Put a 3mm thick spacer on it. One with the L-shaped cut out. before done like that. I'll give her a spare. I don't know why I'll give her a spare, so I'll show you that in a bit. And get the board, have it that way round, so the confused. Wait, what? Yeah, so yeah, I confused myself. So looking at this backwards, this is on the bottom right. So, and you put one of the 3mm spacers into the hole just below this. Yeah, so that big hole there. And you place it so it's not touching any of the components on the board, basically. I can't really show you that, that's the problem. And you put that on the side of the USB port, comes through the hole in the box. And then you line up the hole, the screw you just put in with the spacer you placed in it earlier, which is easier said than done. Yeah. And then you do the same with the other 3 holes on the top of the board. God, this is so difficult. Jesus Christ. That made this easy in the slightest. Make sure the spacers line up the holes you with the parts you put in there earlier. I was going to do this off camera, but once you get all 4 screws in there, you turn the right hand so the back is to your right, probably best in my case anyway. A washer and a nut on each screw. This is obviously most important, probably one of the most important boards in the build, so careful handling it. If you can put the nut on there, which I can't remember for some reason, that'd be handy. Because you put all 4 nuts and 4 washers on each screw, then you'll be have a problem in theory. He says. You'll see. And you do them up slightly by hand. All 4 nuts and screws. And there's one final washer to put in under this board before they get tightened up. So this will get onto the electronics of this build now. Slowly but surely. We're getting the hardest parts of the build now. The electronics part. Wiring it all up, wiring it all up, getting all the wires connected to the right place. And take it back on its front, usual way round. And then you put one more that's just weird. I don't know why I've done that, to be honest. But do them up so they're finger tight. All 4 screws and nuts. And then when you've done that, use the little spacer. Put the little one last 2mm spacer. And put it under the board, under the hole that there is there. I don't know why, I really don't know why they've done that. It makes no sense. and then you just do them up by hand, and I'll back with you with I had a little break in between. Thought I was going to go shopping, but so the board's in the bottom there, it's all secure. So now what you got to do is undo some of your work you've done. Seems a bit odd, but it makes sense eventually. What you got to do is undo the 8 screws you put in the top, because this part on top is just a jig. So undo the screws, leave the nuts as where they are. So we're going to be putting these screws back in, and another part on top in a minute. That won't take long to do. Give me a second, a few minutes. Right. There you go. Right. So you take the jig off the top. It says save that for later, just in case, I think. So you take the actual top part. Now, a bit more music in the background. Now you've got 2 little semicircles here, and it's got a stepped indent here. So what you do is put the semicircles, if the front is facing you, the semicircles at the back. Make sure the wire is in the back, and the stepped part is downwards. It says. They push it all home into the holes and stuff. It's easier said than done at the moment. And then what you do is, once you've lined it all up again, once you pushed it all home, then you get the 8 screws you just took off, and you put 8 washers, the 8 of the washers that came with this issue, onto the screws, and you just put them back where you were earlier. And then I'll do that, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Right, that's all done. I've put the 8 screws on the top of the jig, to replace where the jig was. It's looking quite nice now. It's quite good looking 3D printer. Make sure it's all pushed down. Make sure it's all in place properly, otherwise it won't work well, I don't think. And what you do is get a ruler, or in my case a tape measure, and what you do is you want to mark it so this wire is 30 centimetres, roughly 30 centimetres mark. I'll get to that reason why in a minute. It's just sitting down sometimes. Mark it about 30 centimetre mark. And then what you do is you get 2 cable ties which came with this issue, and you have it so the back is facing you, and put the cable ties through the back here. Yeah, can't show you that because it's not easy to do myself, and I'll show you it. But where the hole where the hole came through in the back is where there's 4 holes at the back next to it. That's where the cable ties will be poking through. So you just poke one in through one of the holes at the top, and then one hole through the bottom, top part again. I'll show you that once I get the other one in. It's a lot easier said than done. All the cables and all the belts in the way, it's not made life easy. But okay, so you have it so you got side by side like that in the back, as you can see. Then once you do that, then you take the wire and find your mark, and loosely do the cable ties that are up at the moment. And then what you do is you line up the mark you just put on there 5 minutes ago. Hoping not you buggered that up, because I might have just messed up a bit. I might have done it up too much. Oh dear. Oh no, that's all right. Yeah, so that wasn't easy. So get the cable tie, top cable tie, and tighten it up where the mark you just put roughly. Maybe a bit more, it's up to you how you do it. So there's a nice big loop of wire and cable tidy up there, and then tighten them up, and then you should do them up, cut the excess off. I haven't got any scissors or anything with me to do that. Do that after, or once I've cut it anyway, next bit. So I'll take back where it was, and you get another big bit of electronics. This is a nice big main board. Oh, thanks. Girlfriend gave me a little pair of scissors. It hasn't appeared in any of these videos yet. Oh, only the first couple, I think it was, wasn't it? Hey, nice big shelf. Right, that's that done. Right, it's nice and neat now. So once you've done that, cable tied through the back there. Then you take the wires, the end of the wires, and plug it through. There's a hole closest to the noise reducer and power outlet, just to the left of that. And plug all the wires through there. Then you should, in theory, plug a whole lot through there. Yeah, just put a whole lot in there, it should be alright. And it says, unwind the spiral tube from the cables inside the housing to a point about 5 centimetres in from where the cables enter the housing. Cut the excess of the wire, tidy rounded bit, this bit. And I'll do that because I need some proper scissors for that, back in a minute. A bit of a change in angle this time. So what you do is, a bit more actually, you get this board, big thick wires coming off here, and you've got 2 terminals here, which on the left, which is marked D10, and you've got to undo them with a flathead screwdriver. Do them so that the terminals are pop all the way up, out of the way, as far as they can go. Really, probably best. It makes life a bit easier. Let's move that. So you can see the left ones are open, 2 left ones are open, the bottom one, other ones aren't. Now what you do is you get wires from the cartridge heater, 2 thick black wire, red wires even, and twist the ends. Twist the ends of the wires together to make it nice and neat. It don't matter what way round you put them in, they will go together. So you just put them into the terminals you just undone, get the wires out of the way, make life a bit easier, and then do them up, make them so that they all go in there neatly. They don't go on the heat shrink that goes around the wires, it's on the wires itself. And then do them up, just do them up as much as you can, so that when you pull on the wire, it won't come out. Do the same with the other one. Exactly the same. This can go into the box. It's a lot easier than the other one was anyway. A lot less faffing about, he says. So make sure they don't come out. Yeah, done that. Big stage is stage 38, isn't it? Jesus. And then with the terminals on the right, get this board, the box on the front screen. Make sure all the wires are out of the way. And on the bottom of the board there's a U-shaped, and there's loads of pins, and it goes into the top of the board you put in there earlier. So there's no wires are trapped. Make sure all the pins go into the terminals, and slowly push it down. Make sure on both sides they're all in. Push it, push it, push it. until it's all level and actually all the pins are in the base of the one you've put in the base already. Base and the base and the base. It's all about the base. That was rubbish, yeah, I know. Right, so it looks like that. It's hard to see because I put it like that, so it's all in there. The big thick wires are on the right, and the terminal you just plug the two wires from the heater you just plugged in on the right as well. And then that's that one, stage 38 done. God, that was difficult, wasn't it? Jeez, all these wires are in there. I'll be back with you next part in a minute. Stage 38 is a little complicated. So what you do is you got two wires at this stage. You've got an X-axis wire, which is 420mm long, and make sure you know what one's which. Makes life easier. And one that's 310mm long. And you get these two, which are motor drivers. These two little I don't know what they're called, like little power boards basically. And on each one you've got this little silver bit here. That should go on the left of the board, and both of them are exactly the same. See, that was on the right, so it should be on the left like so. And what you do is you put it in the... Right, let's see if I get this right. I just want to make sure I get this right because I don't mess this up. Yeah, there's can't really show it, to be honest. It's not easy to show this while building it, this part. Just make sure you put the silver part I showed a minute ago on the left hand side. Both of the motors, they go next to each other, and he says if there's a gap, just take it back out again and put it in properly, because you just missed a gap, missed a space in the board. And when I put it in, there's no gap there. It's nice and neat. Put them on there, make sure they're in nicely, make sure there's no gap. Right. So get the X-axis motor cable, which is the longest one. There's two ends. You've got this big thick end, which is the driver motor end. This driver end. This goes into the board, and this one goes into the motor. Right. So then you get the motor end and plug it into the X-axis motor, which is mounted on the rear of panel of the housing. So if you have the rear like me facing away from you, it should be here. And make sure you see the metal pins there, and make sure that's facing you when you put it in the motor. And that plugs in there. Not very easy to be honest, but it plugs in there quite neatly. Then untwist the wire if it is twisted, it says, which mine's slightly twisted, like me, twisted. Very twisted I am. And then plug it in to the board on the left hand side, which is marked X on the board and on the board even. It's not easy to put in there really. Make sure the yellow wire is on the left, and then you shouldn't go wrong in theory. Turn the housing so the rear is facing you, like so. Put two cable ties through the holes in the housing. Got another load of two cable ties. Put two cable ties through the holes in the housing as shown, so they loosely hold the cable, but do not push the two ties sections in the head as More cables will be added later stage. Huh? That's it. We'll do this off. Right, so next part, there's so much to do in this long, sorry this is a long video, but again you get the shorter, the 310 size motor lead. It's so hard to show you what this is. Again, 2 size wires, sides ends. Again, you put it in so that the, oh, this one's different. Why is that different? Anyway, put it in the Y-axis motor. Oh no, it's right way round. Same way round to put in the last one. Plug it in the back, and then you turn it round again. No, you untwist the wire like you did last time. Don't see the point of doing that, to be honest. And then you plug it into the other connector right next to the one you put in there earlier. Plugged in there nicely, nice, easy, quick, nice and quick and easy. You turn it round so the back is facing you, and you put another 2 cable ties through the back. And this time you actually do it up, make this motor nice and this motor waves put in there nice and neat. I'll do that and I'll be back with you with the last stage, which is stage 40, and put more wires in and the Z-axis motor, which will go down here. Back a bit. The last part of this long pack 9. There's a lot to do in it, not a lot to do in this part, but I'm going to put the last motor into the eye box. So what you do is you get the final motor, and you get the 10mm X-axis motor cable, which is 130mm, and you plug it in the motor first, like the way you've been doing it. Give me a second, I'm not sure way around that is. Yep, that's it. Just plugged in. Then you get 4 10mm screws with the spring washers and normal flat washers on top of that. And then you have it so that the eye box is the left is towards you, and have the motor cable facing you, so motor cable going to the left, and then you put the motor underneath. Thread the motor cable through the gap in the base so it's in the housing as well. They go through this front. Yeah, the cable goes through the front of that bracket. You put the motor in underneath the bracket on the base. It's easier sitting down to this. So it goes in that bracket that's been there since we've been building. Then lift the motor up to the bracket and insert the screws into the screw holes in the motor. So, whatever you find easier, I'm left-handed, so it's probably not going to be easy for me. Not going to be easy at all. And that's that plugged in, screwed in. It says here, do not over tighten the screws on the X-mouse bracket. Make sure it does not move when you move the shaft up and down, which it don't. I think this will only be in there temporarily at the moment, I think. You just get the last wire, and that motor you just plugged in, put it in, and plug it into the last connectors next to the ones you put in there. The other motors, oh, that's plugged in there now, that's a bit odd. There's some wires behind, there's some connectors behind it where that plug went in, so that was very strange. Now it's done, finally, stage pack 9 finally done. That was a lot done. I'll show you, I'll do a little, not a virtual tour, but I'll do a little tour with my camera and my phone camera, show you what it looks like on the inside, and I'll be back with you in a sec. Right, this is thought I'd do a close up of the inside of the 3D printer so far. couldn't see it very much in the video, I don't think. So you've got the two motor wires you plugged in the terminals there. Got the USB logos in there. See, the big black and red wires come off here. These will go into the power supply. So then you got the XZ motor on the back of there. That's all wired up into there. So you got the X wires go there, the Y motors go there, and the Z wires go there. And these are the little balls I talked about earlier. Can't see very well because it's in the dark. So it's bright, not very bright down there. It's a bit better. And that's it. That's everything. Hit the like button, please. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the share button with your friends. See you soon. Stage 10. Hopefully it's not as complicated as this. See you soon. Bye.